Hello, GundPla and Chill crew. It is great to see you guys again. Sorry if you haven't tuned in already or just about to. I appreciate you. We are a little bit slow getting started as I am out of town at an offsite location, making do with what we got. Which right now is kind of weird because I see my face camera is acting quite funky. But we're gonna get you all started up here. We are still continuing our work on our Deathscythe Gundam. So we're gonna be working on the legs today. Just because I know we were gonna paint and everything, but don't have the painting equipment with me, as that was not easy to travel with. But we've got plenty to do with definitely the legs. Oh, and backpack. The backpack we want to finish up today though as well, and the buster shield. So many of things to still work on from our GundPla and Chill options here. Sorry if my front-facing camera is not working, as it is deciding to be finicky like everything else right now. So I had to remove my Gundam cam and then re-add it back, and so we're going to do the same thing here for you. So stay tuned for the troubleshooting that is to happen today. Hoping everybody had a good Sunday. I almost forgot that it was Sunday. My coworker reminded me that. That's why we're out here on a work trip. So yes, here we go. Back to semi-normal. Yes, indeed, some things are missing, but stay tuned. We'll make up for it for sure with a longer than normal stream as well today. So I wanted to work on the backpack. We mentioned that last time. I did leave a crucial part for the backpack at home, but no worries, you should be able to assemble the other parts pretty easily. At least get them cut out and cleaned out. So we are actually going to be working here on this section for the wings. Specifically, and we're just going to dive on in there. Got my travel kit right here specifically, some of my tools, little box, so I take them all with me for wherever I go. And I actually was able to pick up another Gundam in the area. I was super stoked to find it. I found a SEMA custom Gaglu Jaeger, I think it is. I'll pick up some more paints as well. Hobbytown, once again, just if I go to a foreign city for myself and they've got a Hobbytown there, definitely try to go to it to see what their prices are, because they're usually always the best. Granted, they're still a little bit rare right now at Hobbytown, just because their distribution is just not getting them over here. So if you can find some, that's a great place to do it at. Alright, so we've got everything we need for tonight. So some nippers, sandpaper if we need it. Got some more sturdier sandpaper as well, in addition to that. And then of course miscellaneous other tools, scribing tools, and drill as well. Pretty much, once again, everything we need to do some Gundam building. Which is exactly what we're going to be doing. Oh, and exactly. So, pulling these to the side, we've already built the wings. We are going to go ahead and just start nipping out some of our other pieces. My runners are totally out of order due to the flight, and man, actually, I am hoping that I got lucky that my luggage got a little bit more beat up than I normally would like. I think nobody wants to get their luggage beat up, but mine was particularly beat up. On this flight, I noticed that my box top actually got dented in for this model kit, so hopefully no pieces got broken and we're all good. If not, then I'm just curious how that actually happened. So we're working right here specifically. Let me actually zoom in a little bit. That's kind of far away for everybody to see. Guys, once again, I'm super sorry for the late start tonight. Now, granted, if you're watching this episode on YouTube, then hey, you're watching on YouTube live, per se. Let's see what we got here. And also, hey, super awesome thing that I've just started watching Man in the High Castle, and I gotta say, what a fun show. I am digging everything about it. If you've had a chance to see it, love to hear your thoughts. If not, then hey, go check it out on Amazon Prime. Excellent production quality so far. I'm only 4 episodes in for the show itself. And it's pretty awesome. Granted, maybe I'm just a sucker for alternate universes in the first place, but I particularly have become quite fond of it very fast. A friend back in the day suggested it to me, and I'm just sad it took me so long to get to it. If I'm 100% honest. This is also going to be clipped out. Gotta put in the thruster packs that we're looking to do there. Getting that nipped out. This is an H piece that we're looking for. H19. Yeah, super good stuff. Fun show. Somewhat of my recommendation. Oh, interesting. So there's a navy blue one of these, but I guess we got a different one that we cut out. The navy blue one is the one that we have back at home for this section. I'll have to double check to make sure I don't have it with me, because I knowingly knew that I was gonna be working on this Gundam this weekend. So extra part though. For something. Alright, got that cleaned up. So that's basically what we need to get started here. And nope, piece is not with us. So we're gonna soft put this together. We were gonna soft put it together anyway though as well, just to give us some space here. Get actually over my camera here. My camera's so much more stationary. I got it mounted to a desk lamp at the hotel. It's the most interesting setup. You can kind of see it with that, because who doesn't want to see a random dude that you've never met as well as his Gundam that he's building at the same time? Now let's go Gundam Wing talk. Gundam Wing talk. We can talk about Deathscythe. We can talk about Gundam Wing in general. My big thing is that I've mentioned it before on a different episode, but Gundam Wing is actually underrated. A lot of the community, especially in our model kit community, thinks that Gundam Wing's story is just a bunch of it's a band of boys, you know, like in the 90s, all the 90s boy bands, right? Just getting together and fighting the story. So, without spoiling it, the Gundams are there, for sure. Their pilots pretty much are the main characters. But the main antagonist, Zex Marquis, and his counterpart, Treize Kushinada, are the ones that actually drive this story. So, interestingly enough, we don't see a Gundam pilot first for the first characters that we see in the show. We see Zex. We see Zex and his crew. Hopefully, what they're trying to do is catch the Gundams in the first place. They knew about the operation, which, how did they know about the operation? Gonna have to go back and watch episode 1 to see what their intel was there for it. Putting that into place for the first thrusters. But anyway, They knew about it. They were looking for them. He's like hanging out in the atmosphere, and next thing you know, there's Wing Zero coming in, and then we learn about the other Gundams that then come to the Earth right afterwards, though, as well. I'm gonna put this together. It can be easily taken apart, but there's that piece right here. Left at home, but it's missing, so we'll just need to solidly paint that. For instance. Now, normally we would do some seam fixing here, but this will probably be just fine. It's not going to be very, very noticeable in the first place, and it's pretty snapped together as well. So we're gonna go ahead and. This is me thinking, are we gonna just go ahead and leave that, or we have to leave it for now no matter what, because we need that other piece in there. So we're gonna leave that. Leave it probably indefinitely. So back to what we were talking about. Zex is one of the first people that we actually see in the show, and then eventually we learn about Treize Khushrenada in addition to that. So why are these two people so important? Well, Treize, they always mention it, he's connected to the Romerfeller Foundation, which is this wealthy organization that was all about the production of mobile suits, using them to replace the majority of weapons, though, as well. And here's their knight in shining armor, known as Treize Khushrenada. He's a man of chivalry, per se. He's a man that focuses and delights in kind of the arts and stuff. Kind of a General Thrawn kind of vibe to him a little bit there. Which, shout out to Timothy Zahn, for giving us such a phenomenal character in Star Wars as well. Treize has got kind of that feel for it. Additionally, he... what we learn about in the show, though, is that Treize kind of took Zex underneath his wing after Zex's country, the Sank Kingdom, was overtaken. Zex mimicking, at this point, a little bit of Char, if you've ever seen Universal Century, because his father is murdered, or assassinated, the whole kingdom is overthrown type deal, and of course, he's got a little sister named Merlina Peacecraft. In addition to that, la-di-da-di-da, that's our story about those two main characters, or those two characters. Main antagonist. Let's go with that. So, what was their end goal? Well, Treize Khushrenada, taking in Zex once again, kind of knew what this family's ideals were. Zex, of course, wanted revenge for the whole Sank Kingdom being sacked by the Earth Alliance, promoting the idea of pacifism type deal. And if you've never seen a Gundam show, this is always one of their things, is how do we promote there not being war? Well, on this time, Gundam Wing was all about pacifism, really introducing their audience to that in a really good measure. So we hear kind of the end of it, close to the end of the show. Go figure, right? But in order to obtain true peace, they have to be wanting to get rid of their weapons. So how do we do that? Well, Treize and Zex, and here's my theory about this, super happy to share it on this channel, is that Treize and Zex, from the start, before even the coup d'etat that took place in Gundam Wing, whole idea was to bring about pacifism. But it was more than just getting rid of your weapons. We learned this from Dorothy in the show. You have to make it so that people despise the idea of war. Despise it. And so what did they do is that at that point, when Zex leaves Oz after the coup d'etat and stuff, of course he becomes eventually the leader of the White Fang. And him doing that sets a collision course between the Earth and the space colonies to have a full-on two-sided venture between mankind. Those are in space, versus those that are on the ground. However, though, Trey's knowingly part of this plan to get rid of weapons and everything takes all the mobile suits, not just some of them, all of them, from the Earth and puts them into outer space. That's a super big deal. I don't know if that's conveyed big enough inside the show, in all honesty, but that is a super big deal. Think about the resources that it must have required to put all those mobile suits up there. They give kind of an idea of a count as well, of the body count for the final battle. And then if you just do some simple math from there, you'll see that there's a massive number of mobile suits there, though, as well. So they took all the weapons of war from the Earth, brought them up into space to get rid of weapons on the Earth. So if there was anything that existed afterwards, it had to be made. So that was a really, really big deal for that. Now, granted, there were still some weapons that existed in space on the White Fang side. They still had some Tauruses and other things, though, as well. I'm sure of it. We especially see that because in Endless Waltz, we see some Tauruses, and then, of course, the Serpent units, though, as well. But the Tauruses are the big standout suits, though, in this. Excuse me. So they got rid of all the weapons of war, brought them up into space. That being a huge deal, all the resources and everything that required to make that happen. From there, here's another amazing part that kudos to Dorothy for show and telling us this moment. But when Trey's and Zex have a chance to fight against each other, mano a mano, man to man, Zex chooses not to. And Dorothy's like, what the devil are you thinking? Which is fine. Way to go, Dorothy. But the biggest thing that Dorothy failed to see, and this is what Zex pointed out to her right before he went out for battle against Hero at the end, was that humanity I am super sorry about that. Connection dropped. It's probably because I'm on hotel Wi-Fi as well. Super sorry about that too. Yeah, so if you can see me, that's awesome. If you're not, I'm so sorry about that. So anyway, Zex is mentioning eventually to Hero in their final duel together, that humanity has to get rid of the idea of war by seeing it at its worst. What better way to do that than once again have an imminent threat to the Earth with dropping a space colony on it? So when he denied Trey's option to a duel, it was for the sole purpose of seeing how bad war can really be. Because a lot of the time, they just didn't realize it. They didn't recognize it. And us are in the exact same boat. We really probably, in some cases, don't know how bad war can be. And I think that's the message that our author is just trying to get to us in Gundam Wing, which is why it's become such a favorite for me as well, is because I really like that message. Though it sounds maybe a little bit silly, but in general, that's what their message is there, is that we really don't know how bad war is. And if we did, we would never want it again. And so, maybe I'm reading into it too much, maybe not. I'd love to hear your comments and thoughts, or read your comments and thoughts about it, because it is super interesting to me as well. And I don't know how you guys feel about it. I'm never looking to get political, but I will say I hope everything turns out alright for those that are struggling inside Afghanistan. It is definitely a tumultuous time for them specifically. So my heart goes out to them in many, many ways. even wishing that I could do more, which I don't know what I could even do. So, moving along without once again talking about any more politics and stuff. No more sob stories or anything like that. That's my big theory. So Treize and Zax orchestrate this whole thing to be able to have people dislike the idea of war. And it only escalated and got things more, got the stage perfectly set for, excuse me, for Treize with the introduction of mobile dolls. And I think that was the turning point too. That was definitely a turning point when Treize was like, no more. This is awful. We're starting to play with people's lives per se. He's like, we're gonna put an end to this garbage. And that's where he gives Rockefeller Foundation the finger, basically, and then builds Epion, which who doesn't love a good Epion? I actually kind of want to buy another Epion. Mine came out okay, but this is before I got good at Gundams. It looks alright. Actually, his painting is quite lovely. My problem is that I glued too many parts together. Glued way too many of them. Alright. Cleaning up this piece. Almost done with one of the sides of the backpack. Now, this piece, though, jumping away from the show just for, well, per se, jumping away from the show, jumping away from talking about the show to talking about the color scheme. So this piece specifically is actually going to be painted. Navy blue here, yes, but in the show, all of his backpack, except the thrusters, of course, are like this lightish bluish gray. And so I did that on my other Deathscythe Hell, on my other Deathscythe, the Deathscythe Hell, made it all that color. I don't know. I don't think I have that color specifically. I'll have to make it, and we'll show you how to mix a color like that as well. It's really not hard at all. So we'll mix the color to make it happen. And oh, excuse me. Oh, interesting. So this slides into here like such and snaps in. Oh yeah, look at that. Our piece is gonna have to snap in there. I don't know if we're gonna be able to, maybe we might be able to do it afterwards. It's a pretty bad actual mark right here. Gonna give a little bit of scraping with the blade. And then a tiny bit of sanding to clean up that scraping. But look at that nub mark still. It's just so prominent as well. What's interesting, and this is actually pretty doggone cool. So there's actually, I'm sure it's here on this kit as well. Yeah, so these fins are actually supposed to go there. So they literally just swapped the whole backpack out just for this little fin. You can add those wings on, or you add this little baby wing in general. So the option is yours. Or as Captain Planet would say, the power is yours. I probably didn't hit that in the tone right. Oh, Evo Mikey, what's up? Thanks for joining in, even super late. Super late on my part of recording so late. So yeah, so that's this piece. So, oh, so Evo Mikey, I imagine you're saying you're agreeing with the whole, like, Gundam Wing theory about what their idea is about, hey, you don't know how bad war is until you're actually in it or see it type deal. And the whole, like, Treize Kushernada, Zex Marquis staging the whole thing. Hey, once again, super sorry that it keeps dropping out, guys. It's not intentional. It's got to be this hotel Wi-Fi. But yeah, so if you watch Gundam Wing again, if you're gonna give it another shot, or you haven't given it a shot, I highly suggest going into it with that mentality. It's like, hey, is this whole idea, is this whole like conspiracy? Not conspiracy. That's probably not the right word for listening about it. Is this the whole plot point? Is Treize and Zechs, the two antagonists for sure, are they the ones that staged the whole story? And I think if you look at it in that light, Gundam Wing is actually a pretty doggone awesome story. And I absolutely, especially when I watched it as an adult versus when I was a teenager. But yeah, so watch it with that light, hopefully. That'll be like, holy mess, this is actually pretty doggone awesome. And they're kind of conveying a really, really cool idea here about it. And that's why, Treize schools some people, per se. Tells Lady Une how he's supremely disappointed in her, and she's a colonel. Like, she's one of the highest ranking members of Oz, which is the organization that they're part of. And she just did not get it. She didn't get it, and that's why Treize schools her on it. So Gundam Wing's pretty sweet. Yeah, watch it with that light, or those ideas, those concepts there. Yeah, watch it with that light and those concepts there, and I think it will open your mind a little bit about that story. So definitely made me enjoy it a lot more as well. But we really see it taking that path second half of the season as well. We never see an actual conversation between Treize and Zechs about it. But them being best friends for a long time, like, Treize gave Zechs the means to be able to get the revenge that Zechs was so desirable for, since his family was, you know, taken out and everything. We see that in the episode where he takes back the Saint Kingdom, which was pretty awesome. It was one of the best episodes, actually, if you ask me. When Otto took out Tall Geese and basically committed suicide using Tall Geese. And so, and that brings out a super awesome conversation too. And so we got time. I've got nothing but time, as a matter of fact, because I'm where I'm at. So in Gundam Wing, they mentioned something about different computer systems for the Gundams. And that's pretty cool, pretty normal, as a matter of fact. I mean, I'm sure there's massive amounts of programming that goes into a mobile suit. Just ask those that helped develop the Gundam that moves and everything in Tokyo right now. So, that being the case, though, they mentioned two of them by name. The Zero system, well, excuse me, I'm going to even amend that. They mentioned three of them by name. The Zero system, the Epion system, and then the Victory system. Gotta listen closely for this one, though, specifically, because they talk about Tall Geese's system. That's the one I want to talk about tonight, is Tall Geese's system. And the reason why I want to talk about Tall Geese's system, because it also happens to be the same system the Gundams use. At least that's what we're to assume in the show, because Zechs mentions it as, hey, this is the same system that they use. Obviously, the exception is Wing Zero. Wing Zero does not use this system. It uses an entirely different one. But anyway, so we got that system. We got a different system going on for them. And this system happens to be called the Victory system. Now, why is that important? Is because the system is designed for the pilot to obtain absolute victory. But there's a big problem though. The pilot has to overcome their own fears, and specifically the fear of dying, which is a precursor to what we see later with Wing Zero, where it kind of forces you to do that. But the victory system, and that's why at first Zex has an issue piloting it. It's not because the Tallgeese was crazy powerful, which it was. He mentions it specifically as that, hey, it's got a system designed in it to obtain victory, almost at the cost of the pilot. And it's not based upon, I don't know exactly what it's based upon. It's not based upon data the same way the Wing Zero and the Epion system is based off of. But it is based upon pushing to the limits, per se. So, and once again, it mentions, Zex mentions specifically the fear of dying, or the fear of, you know, going beyond that. But once he masters that piece, Tallgeese is just beast mode there afterwards. Nobody stands a chance pretty much against him, including the Gundam pilots as well. So, awesome moment when Zex has that realization. But yeah, so the victory system. The victory system is what's used with all the Gundam pilots. They were, per se, almost expendable in the first place in Gundam Wing. And they mention as much with many of the characters. Especially, I'm sure that's what made Wu Fei so brutal in fighting in Gundam Wing. And that's because he literally, according to the manga, he has absolutely no fear. He's kind of hoping that he would die, per se, because apparently he lost his wife, which drove him to be a Gundam pilot in the first place. So, choose your superhero origin story for that one, because, you know, does it always accompany death type deal? But that's what really gets Wu Fei up and going there for that instance. And I thought that was really, really cool stuff as well. Once you start learning about that, and then you learned what did these pilots fear, and then you see what they didn't and what they overcame though as well. So eventually they've already mastered that system before they even go down to Earth, it appears. Hero eventually masters the Wing Zero system, and Zex masters both the Epion and the victory system of the Tallgeese. So, now granted, why is that important is because the other mobile suits that are in the show don't have that. Not to say that they're not able to be very, very skilled. We see that Lieutenant Noin doesn't have it, and she's still a very skilled pilot. But that's what helps elevate the game of these pilots in general, was their programmed system inside of it. We definitely see that with Epion and Wing Zero, where they can make humans into the ultimate weapon by feeding them bunches of data and calculations into their brain to see any possible, or most possible outcomes. So, good rant there, but yeah, the victory system being super key to every single Gundam. And now, which, if you've watched Gundam 00, hopefully I'm not spoiling too much, but you definitely see how the system impacts those mobile suits though as well. They got a couple different systems. One's a custom OS that Celestial Beam makes their own. And then, of course, I'm sure if you've ever seen it, you probably have heard the name Veda like 50 million times already. But Veda is the computational system for those Gundams specifically, though, as well. This is such a cool backpack. I mean, I'm loving the pieces, and then of course you add the extra wing effects on. It's just gonna be beast mode. But yeah, so that's what it looks like. Those are the jamming, the radar jammer sensor things. So those can actually work right now with the gray piece there, but We don't want to use the gray one. Actually, why do we not want to use the gray one? We're using the exact same pieces. Yeah, there's like no difference except... Ah, nope, I see why. They don't want you to have the ball joint ones because they want this to be stationary and lock into place. Actually, that might even be... You might even need to glue it right here to make sure that it locks really nicely into place so it doesn't shift around with the wings. But yeah, that would make sense a little bit there. And hopefully we're not boring you guys too much with all this Gundam wing talk. But especially if you haven't seen it yet. But new light into the show. Now granted, don't get me wrong, there is tons of corniness from it because it is made in the 90s, and I have no problem with the dubbed version. It's actually duo's particularly good. I really enjoy Zex and Trey's Kushranada as well, especially like if you listen to, if you know the Japanese for Trey's and Zex, it's just not as good. And especially I'm not a fan of Zex's Japanese voice actor. He's not my favorite. I'm so sorry. He's just not good at portraying Zex. And Trey's isn't much better, though, as well. Alrighty, so we got actually all the parts for the wings are now done. So we're, well, excuse me, the wings are back at home. Sorry. These parts for the jetpack are all done. Once again, there's the different options. You can use there's the white fins that we can throw in here as well to make it just the jetpack itself or backpack itself. But we're gonna go with the wings as well. We put so much work into them already, which I'm super excited to see how they're all gonna turn out once it's done. So our next phase though here is we're gonna jump into that Buster Shield. Which, if you've ever seen the show, the Buster Shield is actually a pretty OP weapon. Not only does it drills through its enemies when it's fired at them, I actually appreciate something else really, really small. It actually, when he fights Wing Zero with it, the Buster Shield stops the Buster Rifle's blast completely. Now think about that. If you've not, and especially if you haven't seen the Gundam Wing, I'm sorry, I'm going to spoil some things here for you. If you want to just close your ears for a moment. The reason why that's important in general is because the Buster Rifle is powerful enough to just blast a hole through a colony. Completely. From one side to the other in the show. Absolutely massive and powerful. Or it's also able to destroy natural resource satellites. So these big old massive asteroids they bring for building into the Gundam universe. Resource satellites. Also, if I'm not going to work on a section, I sometimes will just clip off the final remaining parts so I can actually dispose of this and make it a little bit easier to carry, per se. But that's only when I get close to the end of it. And they're also unique parts, though, as well. So, like, those parts wouldn't go anywhere else on this Gundam. So the Buster Rifle for Wing Zero is that powerful. And crazy powerful at that, too. I mean, that's, once again, just blast a hole through these space colonies, which are absolutely just massive in the first place. Blast a hole straight through it. But yet, the Buster Shield, when he got fired at the Buster Rifle had already shot off its blast. It stops it right there. And Dio does that to save himself and the colony because he's in the way of the Buster Rifle. I would have actually liked to see what the Buster Rifle does to an actual Gundam. But we kind of get to see that when we see V8 get hit by it. V8 takes on a pretty heavy blast of Wing Zero's Buster Rifle as well. Has a big loses its entire left side, you know, that type of deal. But I don't know if it was still made of Gundanium alloy. I'm thinking so, though. They were wanting a mobile suit more powerful than the Gundam, so why would you make it with weaker metal, like the Neo Titanium? Alright, so we got that clipped out. We're going to soft snap this, which means we're just not going to snap it all the way down. Just to kind of see what it looks like, especially this piece here, because that's going to be painted. It's white here, but I'm going to make it red. Just like I did on my other Deathscythe, which I don't know if we have any red on the current Deathscythe, so we're just going to try to match it the best I can. If I'm not mistaken, I used black primer with red paint on top. So if that's the case, then that's what we're going to go with again. So that way, and it also makes sense because like the Buster shield in the show, it's blue on the outside, just like we're seeing here, this blue. But in the middle is like a let's call it a crest mount, so you can mount something on it. Or in this case, they have a cross on it in the middle of it, very similar to like the Universal Centuries Gundam shield, where it's a background of red with a yellow cross on top of it. And so we don't have a way specifically to make that cross, which is fine by me. But we're going to make this red, and then the middle part that goes here specifically for this is going to be that yellow color. And we have that, which is funny because that's actually red in general. Funny to me, might not be the right words for it. But yeah, we're going to make that red piece yellow. And then last but not least, these two pieces are supposed to be, actually we are yellow here, but we're going to make them actually a light steel color as well. I'm actually going to clip these out and we can get rid of this runner as well. This is one that I am going to sand down though, because it's going to be pretty prominent by itself. So no mending or anything, so we want it to look nice and smooth for its final finish. And it's not like it's like everything is going inside of it or it's snapping onto these pieces as well. So it's got to be nice and clean. Ooh, I can definitely feel it getting late on me. Found out that the alarm in my hotel room was set, and I don't know what it is. Why is it that every single hotel I've ever been to, the clock is wrong? The clock is always wrong. It's either fast or it's slow. Some sort of monstrosity this is. Anyway, I mention all that because after a really rough day of traveling, trying to get out of New Orleans during Hurricane Ida's time period, which hopefully everything's okay there. Don't worry, my family is out of the house. We're all somewhere else. My immediate family, my parents decided to stay in the area, so hoping everything is good for them. Anyway, I haven't been able to get in touch with them as well, which is normal during a hurricane. Cell phone towers go down really regularly during hurricanes in the south. So anyway, it's giving me a little bit of sidetrack there. Sorry about that, guys. Too personal, and I apologize. This is more about Gundam. Oh, Mikey, that's super cool that you were able to go to Tokyo and see some Gundams there as well. That's awesome. You know, I got to go to Tokyo, but I didn't just have the chance to go see the Gundam facility. I was too busy. I was there for work as well, and so there for work and just didn't have the time. Only 3 weeks. I do need to actually go back sometimes. Hopefully after COVID, when they open up their borders a little bit more friendly. Doesn't help that Southeast Asia is having as many problems as, and Australia and New Zealand area is really having some struggles down over there right now. Australia and New Zealand are very common places people travel to from Japan as well. I have a friend from Japan that lives in Australia. Haven't heard from her in a little bit, but I'm thinking she's okay. She's still posting on Facebook, so that's a good start. Good start. I definitely, I wanted to go to the Tokyo Gundam store though. Oh, I would have died to go there. But once again, just the work trip was too busy. Or better yet, the right way of saying is that I didn't have enough time on the weekends to do those things during open hours. And I couldn't go to Japan and not go hiking again. Like the hiking in Japan is just amazing. There's literally very few things better than the mountains in Japan. I think West Virginia mountains probably give it a really good run for its money, but I am still a little bit biased towards the Japanese mountains. Been hiking there many a times, and so I did get to go to the Gundam store in Osaka though, for one of my visits to Japan, and that was a very nice treat as well. Got to see some competition pieces from that year. Oh, this dates me back to, what was it, 2007 is when I was there at the Osaka Gundam store. I'm sure so much has changed since then as well. But I got to see, my favorite contest piece that I got to see there was a depiction of, oh goodness, what was it? Freedom Gundam. It was a master grade, original master grade Freedom Gundam with Force Impulse Gundam as well. Force Impulse with the big sword that he gets from the Force sword version, and how he stabs through it. So the model did the whole stabbing portion as well though. So the stab was there. They are both mounted. Diorama of snow below them as well. And then just the burn marks from the sword were just absolutely phenomenal. I mean, it was, I don't think it won, but it was just still one of my favorite pieces because it depicted the scene just so perfectly in every single way. I want to say he even measured it just right. I would have loved to see how the model builder built that one, because it was just, it was a different level. And that's the level I'm looking to get to one day, is where I can build something like that, because it was just breathtaking. Having seen that, it was just, I was like, I need to do that, even if it's just high grade version. And so I wanted to reproduce it. Haven't yet. Haven't had the kits that I wanted to do it with yet. So, and it is a sad scene for me in Gundam Seed when freedom is destroyed. I feel the exact same way Atherin did. The exact same way. But it wasn't because of it wasn't because of Kira though. It was because of freedom was destroyed. And even in like the Gundam Versus game, freedom is my go-to. Not only is he fast, but he's also got some just great firepower. Now, granted, if those games portrayed Strike Freedom correctly, Strike Freedom to me is just the most OP Gundam. Like, it's just, I don't know. You can say what you want about Unicorn. It's all hypothetical stuff. Like, it just has hypothetical no limits type deal, which is definitely true. But Freedom, Strike Freedom specifically, to me, the Dragoon system, its rail cannons on the side, double beam saber, double rifles that combine into a super like hyper mega rifle, all together in one. The Dragoon system by itself is very, very powerful, and then you include all the extra things. There's a reason why he's called Jesus Yamato, because once Kira gets that bad guy, he just is unnaturally powerful. We actually just had a piece break on us right there with separating this out again. But it shouldn't be a problem. We got the other two pegs that are going to hold it into place here as well, so it'll be probably just fine. I'm not losing anything over it. So, yep, we're getting to about that 51-minute marker, but we're still going to keep going tonight, make it for the lost time, and give you some more treats, per se. Finish those wings at home. I did all that extra sanding too, so you didn't have to watch all that. Sorry you're having to watch this sanding, though. It's not usually the best parts of the build. Especially, it's got to be super boring for you to watch. So, sorry about that. And sorry for the late night. Especially if you got work in the morning or kids to tend to as well. There we go. I am going to give that a full snap down because we are not going to lift that back up again. It's a good little mechanism here, though, that opens up. And then the beam piece sticks right up in there as well. Sticks real good. This now, we do have some other things that I thought there were some other. Oh, yep, there is some other things that attach to it. We're gonna nip those bad boys out right now. So we are looking for our last H's. Wonder why this one has a slit and this one doesn't. Really don't have a reason why, in my opinion, but it does. Maybe just to signify left and right. Which I think I got them backwards. Yep, I did get them backwards, but it actually really does not matter, though. I didn't follow the instructions there, but yeah, it really does not matter because these in the top and bottom are the exact same. And we actually just need to clip them out. No real cleaning or anything needed because all the nubs are going to be hidden underneath the yellow portions. Alright. There's also going to be another, since I brought my equipment here with me, I did bring the two Gundams as well that I've been working on. So Gundam Wings Day is still very much a go as well for this Wednesday. So that is going to be, once again, 9 p.m. We might be able to push it up a little bit earlier and get started a little bit earlier if you're able to tune in then. Because I don't have to put any kids to bed myself. But yeah, get started a little bit earlier there. Probably about this, actually, same time as we started today. So you see that little fit there. It actually has you put them inside the yellow ones first, but I just wanted to look at them like that. So beast. This is gonna go here. We're gonna barely put this on right now because I'm actually gonna paint this portion red. Like this is gonna be red. This white piece is going to be red. Barely snap this on as well. This white piece is also going to be red, which this is going to finish it off with being yellow. Why are we doing all that? Well, once again, we got our red and yellow background thing going on there from the anime itself versus the redesign. I'm not going to be too aggressive with sticking this on right now. Main reason being is because I do want to be able to take them off to paint them. I don't want to paint them. I want to keep this original gray on the inside. Alright, there we go. Most of the Buster Shield there. We do have to cut out one more piece for it. Good news is it's a non-painted piece. And most of it's going to be covered up though as well. This is what mounts it to the Gundam itself. So I'm gonna use my black nippers because once again, just not going to be seen. Being the fact that it's going to be underneath. This mounts to the arm, and that goes right there. There's our Buster Shield. So we got our backpack, our Buster Shield now. Time to actually get started on our legs. Super pumped for that, as a matter of fact. Oh wait, nope, not legs yet. Gotta skip leg day because we need to do the waist first. I don't know why they do legs and waist. I mean, granted, I guess people do assemble it together at the end, but I definitely want to do our waist first. And then on top of that, like, here's the, you're like, hey, legs and then backpack. Yeah, they put it on the inside. I mean, why not just make it a full butt? I just don't get it. Thank you, Bandai, for just making it so weird. Alright, now, what's really important to note about this one is because we're going with the original color scheme of the actual model, almost everything's going to be a different color than what it is. So, looking at the... So we get an original image. Yeah, here we go. Original image, we got white, 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 all right here. Yeah, none of that's going to be white. That's all going to be, well, this first one here is going to be like the same color as the backpack, which is going to be like that lightish bluish gray. And then on these side panels, these are going to be blue, just like we see up here. This color blue, same with the back. The back is all white as well, for the most part. And yeah, we're going to change all those up to blue. So the gray pieces underneath are going to be just fine. They're going to stay the color they are, but we are once again looking to match the anime more so than this color scheme, which I'm not really fond of. I never have been, actually. And since we have been putting this together as well, like, I've really been like, oh snap, the original color scheme does look great. That's right. So we need that bad boy. And then this guy. Big old PC4. Such a big PC piece right there. And then we are, where are we at? Don't have to be like too hardcore with these pieces though as well, because none of these nips are going to be seen. Now, one could argue that you want to seal these up using the adhesive and seam technique, but once again, it's like, who's going to look in between the legs? Like, hey, let me spread my Gundam's legs and show you it. Like, you're just never going to see that, in all honesty. Granted, if you're entering in for a model, maybe, but usually they're going to, even from the, I said model, wow. If you're going to enter it into a contest, usually what I've seen, at least the feedback that I've gotten, is that they're going to grade it as it's displayed. So if it's within viewable distance, then you don't pretty much need to, I mean, you will need to sand it to make sure the nubs are there, but this is how this sits right here. And then on top of that, we're going to have all that waist armor as rounded as well. Unless they can literally see up here by, you know, like tilting the Gundam up type deal, they're not going to see those nubs or even anything at all. So Now granted, just because of my perfection that I've got, I'm still going to clean up these nubs a little bit here, just because it's gross. I'm actually going to go with my heavy grit this time because those nubs are just a little bit stronger than I wanted them to be. And my knife wasn't getting them well enough, which means that it's not sitting fully even, which that's totally normal for them not to sit too even. So, but please, 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 whenever you're sanding, let the sandpaper do the work. And with the sandpaper doing the work, you're gonna have a lot better time, a lot better results even. It just, once again, it may take some time to do it, but as you've seen, I mean, believe it or not, the lower the grit you go, right? So the 120 is what we started with here. That's where the most work is gonna be done, most sanding, because when you properly sand it, it's just gonna be, hey, you'll see that it changes buffs and the scratch marks go away basically as the grits go up. And that's how you know it's like, hey, it looks all the same now across the board with my 400 grit. Let me jump up to my 600. And then now we're looking all the same there, going up to our 800. Now I did that just because of how rough that was, but overall in general, it doesn't look bad, and you're really still not going to see it at all. Alright. But yeah, so when they're grading for model contests, they're usually only doing what's in visible distance, and they're never gonna pick up your piece. So however you put your piece is how you want it to be. And so that means, hey, if I'm, got my snap build together and I want to see what's my next step there as well, that's when you want to put it in its pose and then kind of look at it at all angles per se and see what you can see. Now granted, you can do the method where you're like, hey, let me take all my time and everything to make sure everything looks perfect and all those, and even if I know it's there, it's got to be fixed up type deal. If you're gonna do that, you do you. But I promise you, even some of these pro level builders, they're not always doing that though as well. Time is a big thing, and if you don't have to spend all that time sanding, waiting for something to adhere and such, save yourself some time in that instance. Take care of what's visible versus what you just know is there. Alright, so we got actually a clear piece. Get a clear green. I'm actually going to avoid cutting this out, but I am going to cut out its frame around it. So I make sure I leave that in the box. So this bad boy, I'm gonna, I like, and the reason why I'm nipping around is because I'm actually gonna do the clear coat on top of it here. Do a chrome on the back. So clear green here, chrome on the back, and then cut it out. Especially because it's going to be, as we see here, it snaps on here and then this piece goes over it. As it goes over it right here, we're not going to see the side pieces at all. And so we want it to still have that glass effect, but we still want it to be shiny, which is why we're going to do clear coat on top, chrome on the back, and then we'll put it into place as our final set piece for it. So just putting this in the box for now, just to get out of the way. And then we get this white piece. I actually don't know if I remember on whether or not it has a white piece on top of it. So we're going to look it up. So we're going to look at Deathscythe anime specifically. Get some images going on. It looks like, oh, interesting. I'm gonna have to see what I did at home And because the reason being is that he's got this red little like V-fin thing, which is very common for Gundams to have in that area. So I don't know if I painted even that green piece that I was just talking about. I don't know if I painted that red or not. I maybe did. And then I probably left the top piece still blue, because it's navy blue there, and actually there's not even that top piece at all. So I probably painted that navy blue, and I probably painted that interior part clear red with the chrome background, just like I was talking about. And we'll probably do that again, especially because it does look good. Alright, gonna cut this out. These pieces are the ones that are definitely gonna stay the same color. There we go. It's a shame I cut those out to transport easier, and then now here we are fully just cutting them out. We're going to need that in a second, and not that. Alright, but we will need this one. This one we need right now. Alright, well guys, we're going to go for just another like 17 more minutes here. Thanks for tuning in. I personally just getting tired. Unfortunately, it's been a long day because that daggum alarm clock at the hotel, which is also 15 minutes wrong, woke me up at 5:45 after a very long day of travel up to Chicago. So I am getting kind of tired. Especially because I had to drive around town and go find more Gundams. I mean, what else do I do when I go to foreign cities and see what they have in stock nowadays? Because everywhere is a different one. So if you didn't hear at the beginning of it, I got a SEMA Geglu Jaeger, which is actually one of my favorite Xeon mobile suits. She rocks a purple and gold color, and I have like the perfect combo for it. I'm super stoked to actually paint that suit. I know, purple and gold. You're like, what? No, it's a sick combo. Sick. So, all right, we got that mounted. This mounted as well. Somewhere, yep, right there. And then, to finish it off, actually, fortunately, these nub marks are right here up against it, so it's going to be mostly covered up by the back armor pieces on the waist as well. So you're never going to see that. You're never going to see those nub marks if you don't want to paint type deal. Yeah, they're right there. Like even right now, they're hard to see because that's in the way. This one though, we might want to sand this piece right here. But no, I got a perfectly smooth clip there. Just got a nub mark from it, but it's going to be painted anyway. I always paint my dark colors. They're always so easy to paint too, so I always paint the dark colors. Yeah, super smooth for both of them. Once again, we'll need I'm pretty sure I made this from red, so I'm going to leave it red there. I need to go grab that other piece. This does come off. Oh, took off the whole thing. Well, I think it was going to come off easily, but apparently it is being a stubborn guy. There it goes. I'm going to push it all the way on this time. You know, because we just had a hard time getting it off. And so yeah, I'm thinking this is going to be probably just navy blue, match what we have in the anime. Sometimes you just got to pull that up every now and then to make sure that I got my coloring right. So yeah, and those nub marks, I'm going to actually sand it down a little bit. I didn't clip it my best right there. I didn't use my single blades to clip that out, and they were thick pieces too, or thick connections as well. Almost done here with it. There we go. That sits right there. Yeah, it'll definitely look better blue. I don't know why it's white in the first place. It feels super awkward like that, if you ask me. We also... I'm not going to do that one right now. This is an interesting section of pieces, though. So this is the armor that lays against the waist here as well. So we're going to finish up with tonight, probably. No legs. Sorry, guys. I wanted to get to it, but we're just not there. Just not there. And actually, we need something to super glue tonight, too. Probably not going to glue it tonight specifically, just because I want to paint the part first, front and back. But it's right here at the side hip armor specifically. All right, but all these are white, so these need to all not be white. This is going to be a grayish color for these, both of these. That same gray as the backpack, and then these are going to be the navy blue. But the inner pieces, though, are going to stay this color. We're going to use our nice single blade because they don't need to be painted, and they're mostly going to be covered up. So just a nice smooth clipping out. And I'm going for it all. Going for it all. Need to send that one down. That's going to be visible. It's going to be a visible part. So we're even going to sand it through the grits. Got to get rid of the white, because we're not painting these. I mean, I guess we could, but it's inconsistent with the rest of the paint job. And I'm going to go ahead and clip these out. This part's going to be covered. So I'm going to get all of these. You might even clear out this runner tonight. That would be great. One less runner to bring home. Alright, these ones are definitely all going to need some TLC. So we will give it as such. And then same with these guys. Now there are some navy blue parts that attach onto here that we're going to need to paint and clip out in addition to that. Super, like the smallest runner I think I've ever seen, as a matter of fact. 4 parts on it. And they're all 4 small parts as well. That's the whole runner. All right. Let's see what's next. We actually need to clip out some XB parts. XB. Now, none of these are going to be seen, so I'm going to single blade and clip them all again. Alright, and then these ones as well. These are part of the hip attachment. Just like that. Oh, I'm also missing some other pieces. Alright, so that one's done. And then we got Now hopefully power's back into my house next Sunday, and we'll actually get some painting done. Really finish up this Gundam. It'll be super close to being done at that point, as a matter of fact. So, and that means that'll be time to choose another one, which I'm super pumped because we're dedicating Gundam Wing Gundams to Wednesdays now, and then we can do actually as Evo Mikey, if you're still on as well. I have some master grades of Gundam 00s that I have just begging to be built. Dynamis, Exia, Kyrios, and Exia Repair 3. Those are my four Gundam 00 Gundams, and they're all master grades, which I am super stoked to build. I also have on the list, and I'll give out this list as well though in the community, in this GundPla and Chill, that we have Aegis Master Grade as well, which is another one I'm dying to make. And a few more master grades, and I am pumped actually to build some more master grades. I've been doing high grades for so long that it's a really nice change up. Just because I love the parts amount, and the color accuracy as well is usually really strong, with some good solid painting as well. So there we go. So this is the part that actually needs to be glued. On the other one, it's very loose. It sits well, but when you try to bend it up, it comes off just a little bit too easily there. And when you're putting them in poses, I mean, that's bound to happen. So, but super easy cleanup here. They're cleaning up so well. These are really engineered just for the builder, it feels like, as well. Oh, I also have a bunch of Strike Gundams. I have Strike, Perfect Strike, which I'm super stoked for as well. That one's going to actually take a while to build, I think, because you got to build all three striker packs. So Strike, all striker packs for it. Strike Rouge Otori. Otori? It might be Bird. Yeah, Otori. Big Bird. It's so funny. It's Big Bird. And then Strike version IWSP as well. So all those different versions of Strike to build. Which I had a diorama idea for, where it was, we have Rouge coloring, we have phase shift armor, and then we have deactivated version. So I plan on having all three versions of colors for the way that we see Strike. And then with the Lightning Striker pack that's coming out from P Bandai, I already got it pre-ordered. I will literally have every single Striker pack for Strike Gundam, which I am nerding out because I'm super excited to have all that. And I don't even know how I'm going to display all that, but I've got to find a way that to display all that. It took me a while to collect it all those as well. Some of them were gifts. I made sure that everybody knew, it's like, hey, this is what I'm looking for. Some of them was some gift cards that I got from work for Amazon, and just spent them on getting these all. So took a while to collect all three different versions of Strike, and then of course the rest of the Striker packs. But it's going to be fantastic once I have it all together, and I'm super excited to find a way to pose all that. I'm thinking like the hanger pose. I'm thinking of a hanger pose with it for the deactivated version, with all the versions kind of somehow staggered throughout. Oh, very cool, Evo Mikey, that you picked up your first real grade. Which one is it? Real grades are great also as well. They definitely, it says they don't require glue, but that's not true. You do need some glue for your real grades. I have not found a real grade yet that doesn't need at least a little bit. If not, they do kind of fall apart in some places. So I do have my real grade Exia collection, which one of them is a kit bash. I got Exia Repair 2 and 3, and then original Exia. I just can't find the Exia Repair 1. Oh, okay, you got Strike Gundam. Very good. That's a good build. I had to buy one to replace one of the parts of my perfect grade. Actually, not my perfect grade, excuse me. My real grade Perfect Strike. It's my favorite version of Strike. And actually, in the Gundam games, if you can get Perfect Strike, that's definitely the way to go. It's a really, really solid mobile suit in the game. Takes some practice to get used to, but the big sword is and the big blaster is also really, really awesome. Alright, gonna give a focus shot there. Oh yeah, I got it pretty good. Got a little bit there, so I'm gonna have to sand it down some. Yeah, it's gone now. Just gotta buff it. And you can actually still see the nub mark though. It's crazy. Like, it's not white, it's the reverse. It's just really, really dark. It's a dark spot there. Like Neptune! So, there we go. Snaps on just like that. There is another piece. Yeah, I haven't clipped any of those out yet. It's like an inner backwards frame at the same time. None of it's going to be seen, so let's go on single blade. Danger close. There we go. Yeah, I got another AL Strike as well. I'm actually looking for an Aegis high grade to go with it, so I can actually make a kind of a diorama of the final fight between Aegis and Strike Gundam as well. That's probably one of the best fights in all of Gundam Seed. I dare say almost hands down. It's one of the best fights there. The final one specifically. Starting to rain, lightning, they both go into seed mode. It's awesome. Both people lose allies. Once again, the author showing us that war can be terrible. And it makes enemies of friends, and friends to be enemies. I think that's what the author's trying to tell us there too. Alrighty. One more to clean up. Actually, that one came out super well. We're gonna just buff it real fast. Yeah, that came out real slow. Nothing like getting a good clip. Sometimes good clippings feel like they're hard to come by, but when you get them, they are great. Insert Tony the Tiger's voice. This is supposed to go in first, but I did not do that. Actually, weirdly enough, that's the wrong piece. There we go. That's the right one. So we get this nice good clipping. There we go. A little bit of sanding on that one is needed. This one is probably definitely going to need it. Oh yeah, definitely. It's at an angle, which is why it's a problem. I knew it was going to be a problem. Cut a little bit with a knife too. Now, even though I snapped these on, I would still recommend actually painting them with it unsnapped if you're going to paint. It's always cleaner that way. If you can paint the parts completely separate, that's always the best way, if you ask me. Now, I have seen an interesting technique that I'll share. I don't do this one, but I have seen people snap it all together, prime it down first, and then from there, that's when they separate it, and then paint it there afterwards. Now, I can see the merit behind it because you prime the areas that are going to be seen once again. And if it's not going to be seen, then you know where you need not paint. And so, interesting method. I think it's pretty cool. Never really, once again, gotten to that myself, just because I don't mind like any other undercolors being painted as well, or underexposed spots. Just because you never know. You never know. So, alright, there's that. Once again, there's pieces going to be there. I'm not going to even clip them out tonight, though, because they're going to need work before we even put them on. This is for that. And then we got a little bit of trimming needs to be done here. Oh, wow, that's... Who clipped this out? Try that again. Alrighty. Got that cleaned up now. Oh, that nub mark is not my favorite. So we're gonna clean it up. There we go. That one's all clean. Ready to be mounted. This one as well. Oh, it's not sitting right. Because that is supposed to go in first. Oh, nope. That's the reason why. Gosh. I did not do that well. That's how you know I'm getting tired. Cutting out like a bonehead. Alright, almost done here. Once again, thanks for sticking around with me so late. Whether it's your time or my time. Either way, it's late. Not that I haven't stayed up later building Gundams, ooh, especially when I get close to the end. Man, I have put in some hours at time. And my angel of a wife somehow still bears with me. She usually goes to sleep, but she's like, go ahead and just build and have your fun. So that one I clipped it really good. But yeah, we'll be able to finish up the waist tonight. It's actually one other part of the waist that we're going to do as well. Gotta find the piece for it. I think it's on the A. It most certainly is on the A. Right. The A and the C. I'm actually pumped. We've got so much painting to do, but also at the same time, it's all mostly the same colors. So we should be able to knock it out of the park real fast next video. Don't worry, I'll have them all primed, and what I mean primed is ready to go as well for when it's time to paint. There we go. We're gonna snap this into place. this right there, because that does not need to be painted. It's going to be stationary completely. Very interesting how it's all white. With the middle piece of blue. It makes it stand out so much, if you ask me. And here's the final one for the night. Waist, backpack, all ready to go. They are ready to go home now. It's actually a fantastic looking waist as well. I mean, well, aesthetic wise, not the coloring, but like just the overall look of it is awesome. And then once again, so if we're looking around here on the main screen, not my small camera, you can see that like none of our, like this is how it would sit right here. You can't see that seam underneath very much. So keep it hidden. If it doesn't need to be shown, keep it hidden. Which, once again, it's not like, hey, look at my Gundam. This is how it looks, right? So, anyway, thanks for joining me for GundPla and Chill. Thanks for staying late, joining even late as well. Apologies for getting started late. I can't say it will never happen, but I'm glad that you stuck around for it. Have a wonderful evening. If you got work week coming up, enjoy if it's your continued days off, and enjoy those too. So, take care. Have a good rest of the month. Build some more Gundams. Talk about some Gundams. Post about some Gundams. We'll catch you later next time.